Good evening, everybody. We getting ready to tap in tonight. I got a great conversation for you tonight. We're talking about ego. Ego is the enemy. I can speak very well on this subject matter, but we are talking about the book, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. If you're listening, if you're out there, please put your name and where you are watching from in the chat. If you are part of the BX Next group, I have shared the link if you would like to come on camera in our third segment tonight. Again, I'm going to be talking tonight on some of my own experience, my own challenges with ego, and hoping that I can help you not make some of the same mistakes that I have. If we've never met, my name is Nikki Stiles Baker. I am the author of Side Hustle Glow Up, and I am the 19th governor of the Southeast District of the NANB PWC. Tonight, I want to talk about a really good book that has inspired me, which is Ego is the Enemy, and its counterpart, The Obstacle is the Way. I'm having had over 25 years in working as a graphic designer, freelance, as an entrepreneur, while having other jobs, other positions. There are many times that I ran into challenges that I just could not figure out why things were going bad. I blamed bosses, I blamed relationships, I blamed a lot of, I blamed my mother, my father, family, I blamed a lot of people. But when it came down to it, one of the greatest lessons I learned is it was me, or rather it was my ego. I know it's really hard sometimes for us to admit that we have an ego. So I'm going to talk about ego tonight from a couple of different perspectives, but one from a very basic definition. And some people use the term ego as the acronym easing God out. Means easing out purpose, easing out connection, easing out something bigger than us, and relying solely on ourselves or our thoughts to carry us. And just being honest about the fact that oftentimes if it's just us, then our thoughts sometimes are delusional. Sometimes our thoughts are just trying to fill the gap to give us the answers that we want, but not necessarily the answers that are real or that are going to help us grow. So I want to talk about how do we identify ego and how do we move it out of the way. So we'll talk a little bit about my own purpose here. As I said, I am a graphic designer. I'm self-taught. My career began in Miami, as we say, back in the day, working in entertainment. And a group of friends of mine, we started a group called Friendship Fridays, which was an open mic show. And I guess I was the person with the biggest ego that people could flatter me. And I was crazy enough to be the host of that event. So years went by and we did that. And I thought at some point that my skills had topped out of this circle of friends. So I went on to do other things. And sometimes I hit a wall. Though I had sometimes been working days at a time, 2-3 days at a time, and I have to still be careful not to fall into this trap of the ego, the trap of easing God out. Whatever God may be to you. Like I said, I also like to use the acronym for God being good, orderly direction. Easily misled, and I have to always put a check on my ego, because if you start believing that ego, it is you that is delusional and it is you that fails. So the book that we're talking about tonight, again, Ego is the Enemy, talks about ego being the enemy in 3 areas of your life when you're trying to progress. First area is when you're trying to aspire, which is when you're beginning to pursue a goal. It can also be a challenge when you are in the success phase, when you have achieved the goal, and also in the phase when you go into failure or a valley. Sometimes right after a success, it's anticlimactic and it feels like you're going down. But ego is an enemy in each of these areas, in the area of aspiration, in the area of success, and also in the area of failure. So a good dose of humility or reality would be helpful, because those qualities, those principles allow us to continue to grow. So let's talk about aspiration a little bit. So when I began my career, I brought this, I don't know if you can see this flyer, but this is where I began. I was pretty humble. I knew I didn't know what I was doing, but I was very excited. And when I started that open mic show, it was called Love Jones Revive. I didn't come up with the name. I didn't come up with the idea. I was just a part of a group of people that put it together. And I was so excited. I knew what my limitations were, and I moved ahead and did it. Now, for those of you who've known me for years, what's just funny, this was a newspaper called Urban, called Urban Awareness. Y'all tell me, put it in the chat if you remember. On the back, there's a Love Funk Jazz Lounge ad. So if you're from Miami, you were going to spoken word events back then, you would have known these events. This is back like 98, 99. We were doing it, okay? But it was completely green, didn't know what I was doing in the world. But it didn't take long, just only a few years before I began to feel that I was the cat's meow. And when that level of success popped out, I was aspiring, I was pretty humble. But when I got to the success stage, I got pretty pretentious, and no one can tell me anything, because I thought I was a cat meow. I was making lots of mistakes left and right, losing money, and I wasn't willing to admit or see that it was my own shortcomings that were blocking me. Shortcomings like consistency, shortcomings like showing up on time, shortcomings like hanging around with the wrong people, shortcomings like not taking care of my health, or just the misbelief that I could work harder and harder and that somehow I could achieve. So even in this book, Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday talks about workaholic being an addiction just as serious as any other type of addiction. So because it's legal, and because especially in our society, we tend to celebrate wealth and success and drive, no one often, unless it's your spouse or your children, will tell you, hey, you're working too hard. And if you're driven or you're motivated like I was, no one can tell you that you're working too hard. But there is a point where it is too much, especially when you see that it's not being productive. And that's how the ego is all the time. Despite the results, your mind is telling you that you know what's right. And it's almost a disability. It's a disability that you refuse to see where your weakness is. So how do we know when our drive or our feeling is based on ego? So there's one really good writing that I saw that I'd like to share. When you realize that it's ego, usually it is based in fear. And it's kind of like when we talk about the Napoleonic complex. Here's a person or an attitude about yourself that's really tiny. So instead of accepting your defeat, you build up this facade, a fake reality, a persona around this tiny feeling. And you believe that people believe the facade that you built. But in reality, they don't, only you do. So the triangle of self-obsession explains that. If you are concerned or worried about something that's happened in the past, that can be considered what we call resentment. If you're angry about something in the present, that's anger. And if you're angry or concerned about something that hasn't happened yet, we consider that fear. The only way that you can undo those three feelings or those states of mind, the only way you can undo resentment is through forgiveness. The only way you can undo fear in the present is through love. And the only way you can undo fear or concern about something in the future is apply faith, which is a good feeling or a good hope regarding what the outcome will be. And in the midst of all this, a great dose of humility, or as I said, reality, is very helpful. So again, so I'll go on. The book we're talking about today is Ego is the Enemy. And we're talking about how ego is the enemy to your aspirations, to your success, as well as to your failure. So how is this? So even in this case of failure, in all of these, if you have your purpose set, your purpose is much bigger than you. Your purpose is you plus the destination outside of you. Your ego tends to tell you that you can achieve your goals all by yourself. Your enemy tells you you don't need those people. You don't need the haters. You don't need friends. You don't need family. And it's really being dishonest with you. So again, how do we break down ego? I had a few notes here. Let me see. If you're listening, go ahead and put your name and your location in the chat. So I thought, think of purpose as your battery, right? An ego is a shorted wire. You need that wire, but that wire short is draining your battery. But if you get your purpose in order, if you get your battery in order, this can supersede shortcomings. A strong battery can take you there. So get your purpose in order. When I was going through my hardest times, looking back, I really just didn't. I was working, I was going days without sleep, but I had no purpose. And I was literally killing myself. So now when I was slipping back into that place of overdrive, and I kind of have to tap myself on the shoulder and say, that is not the way. The way for me is good, orderly direction. The way for me is order. And I must be honest with myself about my shortcomings so that I could achieve purpose. So in Ego is the Enemy, Ryan Holiday always also talks about your ego is telling a fib. It's making a story, a tale, a myth about who you are. But you would be far more successful to focus on your accomplishments or your actions that lead you to the goal, not the story of the myth, right? Not the story of how great, mighty Nikki reaches the finish line, but actually doing the steps that get you to the finish line. So save your breath and focus on your actions, right? Focus on the goal and fulfilling the actions every day, every moment that get you there. Okay. So your vision, your purpose checks the ego. It keeps that ego in check. Your ego is like a 2-year-old. It wants to do what it wants to do. It tells you that you're great, you're mighty. I'm not saying you're not great. What I'm saying is, let's be sober about our assessment of ourselves, right? We have weaknesses. If I wear glasses and I act like I don't and I can see, I'm going to fall over myself. I'm going to make myself look stupid. And we also say a lack of humility will make you be humiliated. So get humble as you need to be, but take Slow, consistent, progressive steps until you're able to move faster. So it gives an example. Ego is like a warped piece of wood, a bent piece of wood. If you leave it alone, it will bend everything that it touches. But with purpose or an intentional straightening, we can keep it straight. So that is our mind, and we can get ego back straight so that it's not taking us out here into left field looking completely crazy. So sometimes we think our talent, we think the people we know, and then if you even listen to yourself telling your story, which is interesting because I've been trying to teach people recently about branding. Yes, you need to have your story ready for branding, but even there's a level of authenticity that is needed because otherwise it's not sellable. There's just certain things that people won't believe. So you're here telling people you can coach them and you can mentor them, yet you've never been coached or mentored. So the ego needs to stay in check. And humility means we can continue to connect with other people, learn from other people, or even learn on our own. But when ego is in charge, we know we can't be told anything. We're kind of incorrigible. So I want you to put, if you have anything in experience that you'd like to share, I have put in the BX Next group the link that will allow you to come on in. And in the meantime, I will keep discussing my challenges with ego. So again, in the areas of aspiration, success, and failure, if you are just building, like sometimes I've seen people just charge too much for their product, and we have this saying, fake it till you make it. Faking it too hard, you just can't make it. Like if your product is mispriced, no one will buy it. And it doesn't matter how much you think well of yourself, nobody's buying it. So I would say don't fake it till you make it. Be real until you make it. Be authentic until you make it. If you don't know, do a little research. But that'll be far more efficient and productive than fake it till you make it. So let's not fake it till we make it, okay? Let's be real till we make it. Also, in success, there will be moments where you will have great success. And what Ryan Holiday explains is that he saw in his life, as well as in all his mentors, that right before the fall was a great success. So that great success, if you're delusional and deep in your ego, you think you've reached the mountaintop, but you forget that right beyond that is still another step. And purpose will keep you aligned with that. So I want to share a little bit my purpose. I recently started with putting together my own offers, my own content. I have been doing graphic design for years. I just didn't know, I did know that I wanted to help other people. I didn't really envision doing the classes. I was taking a lot of classes on my own, taking cybersecurity, graphic design, business administration. I like to learn. I love to read. And so that's how the book discussions came on. I love to see other people win. It just does it for me. So I thought about how can I do more of what I've always been doing? And I thought, okay, well, this podcast is one way we can talk on a Friday night where everybody else is out partying. I want to talk about how do we succeed? How do we get past our challenges? What is it that's really challenging us? Is it society? Is it your boss? Or is it us? Is it our own ego? Is it that we're filling in the gaps because we've never been taught? And we're just doing our best? Or can we do better? So my purpose was, can we have dialogue? Can we hold each other up? Can we teach one another? And so this particular podcast is that first step. Can we teach each other from our experiences? And so this ego discussion, I can speak on it. If you've ever met a big ego person, everybody I know will tell you I probably got the biggest ego. that falls away quickly when things go wrong. So I don't want you to make the mistakes that I've made. I want you to do better. So I think it begins with this discussion. And ultimately, so we talked about aspiration, we talked about success, and let's talk a little bit about failure. Failure is inevitable. There's no one who wins every fight. You, Muhammad Ali, Tyson got knocked out. Tyson, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Failure is inevitable. It just means that what you set out to do is not happening like you envisioned it. And it hurts. So humility is going to be needed in the area of failure more than anything else. There's another book I hope you guys will take a look at called Peaks and Valleys. But Peaks and Valleys explains that when you're on the peak, this is a time to be grateful. But when you're in the valley, and you will be in the valley, when you're in the valley, this is a time to learn. This is a time to quiet things down. This is the time where you're really thinking and processing what just happened, right? Who are you with? You and God, you in good orderly direction. And hopefully you can work it out so that you will never have to reach this valley again, right? So if your income increases, you may hit another valley right on the other side of that success. Hopefully it's not the previous valley, but it'll still be a valley. So as soon as we accept that peaks are going to happen and valleys are going to happen, that process will never stop. So once we accept that, in my opinion, that is a level of humility. But if you really think that your success is going to go like this and stay up, then you've defied the law of gravity. It's just not realistic. So let's get realistic and have less talk, more action. But let's start with thinking about our purpose. I mean, that's so complicated. How do we know what our purpose is? Do you get a memo from God? You know, what are you standing on? Ego is the enemy. He also asked the question, which was, and I thought it was good, if your confidence is built, what is your confidence built on? If your confidence is built on people telling you that you are good, what happens when people don't tell you anymore? If your confidence is built on people affirming you, what happens if they should stop? So what is the foundation? What is the solid thing that you stand on that assures that you can stay resilient when the failure does happen? What will make you come back again? Or will you just quit? So I noticed in my past life, the things that I had tried when things got hard, generally I quit, but then I came back to it. So I'm kind of like one of those boxers that gets the stuff beat out of them, and then they come right back. That's me. That would be me. But sometimes we just quit altogether. So who is our opponent? Who is really the enemy? The enemy is not your family member, your friend that's hating on you. I would argue, as Ryan Holiday has suggested, ego is the enemy. Your very own idea of who you are. And that makes it a cunning enemy. But just imagine if you could put that enemy at bay, what you can do. If you can put your ego aside, well, first you would have to admit that it's a problem. I did an exercise where I walked through and went to go tell my ego, thank you. That it was created in a time to protect me. It was a mask that was created to help me survive through a moment. But once you get through that moment, you're supposed to take that mask off. It's like the faceplate on a football player, right? Once you get through the game, you're supposed to take it off. You're not supposed to continue to go through life with the face guard. That's the ego. So if you can take it off, you go into the locker room, you go get coached. How do you perform when you're not in the locker room? So again, ego is the enemy in the area of aspiration, in the area of success, as well as in the area of failure. Ego is like a drug. It's a fix that makes you delusional and believe that you're superpower, you're superhero. There's nothing you can't do. The only reason you can't do it is because somebody's blocking you, and that is a fallacy. So we are here today to talk about popping the bubble of the ego. So I did some work, and I would invite you to go over to my website. I have a free branding guide. It's called Slay the Brand Game. But I did put an assignment in there that would help, hopefully help us get to our purpose, our personal brand, and thinking about what's important for us. So there's an assignment in there that asks you to explain 5 standout events in your life and what you learned from them. And that's the essential part of the assignment, not just what happened. We don't want to just reflect on things that happened. We want to reflect on lessons learned. If we can reflect on lessons learned, we don't have to learn the same issues again. We don't have to go through the same lessons again. So let's go to learning from our own experiences. That would be putting the ego at bay. Not sitting and insisting that we're right when we're clearly being delusional. So you will, if you do the branding guide, you will complete. And you don't have to go into detail, it's really just for you. Describe 5 standout events in your life. I would say pre-association, the first 5 things that come to mind. And then tell what you learned from the experience. After doing that, look at what is the value that came out of that experience. So at my junior high school, I was in computer magnet program. I really enjoyed it. I didn't really thought that I would come to work in computers my whole life. Ironically, I have. And fortunately, I'm able now to teach other people. And I knew that it was going to be very important to continue to learn. I knew that it was going to be very important to have a sense of community. And I had never let that go. So let's say a part of my purpose, one of my values is innovation. Another one of my values is creativity, is safety. So I want you to really think about those things. I'm not asking you to go back into your past to dig up something to go fix it. I'm not a psychologist, and sometimes there's just some things need to stay where they are. But I am recommending you go back and look at the lessons learned. And we're controlling it by only selecting 5 of those. So select those 5 things and then pull out one word, one principle. This is what your purpose is. From this, you can go into Chat GPT or you can craft it yourself, but you could easily then go in and write your mission or your vision statement. And once this is done, this is a great check on your ego for the rest of your life. I would recommend from time to time you go back and check it. But even if you don't, see, or you've got this is a major step, but you could easily then go in and write your mission, go back and check it. A major step in checking that ego is knowing what your purpose is. This is even going to help when you select partners and people that you're going to work with, right? Because then you can easily say, I'm sorry, my brand values are not aligned with yours. And you won't be offended when people tell you that either. So that humility is going to help you through even failure. Failure won't even feel like failure anymore because you're like, no, that's just not my purpose. It's okay. But when you running after this, that, and the other, because you're just trying to get $1 or a few dollars, you're going to burn out. I know. I have a book. I wrote it. I'm sharing it. Side Hustle Glow Up is a book about what not to do. What not to do to get burned out. And also how to come into this information age time where we really need to figure out how to move further, farther, and faster. Sorry, I'm just checking stuff. I see a couple of people. If you would like to make comments, please do. I'll open the floor up. I did send out a link if you'd like to join us on the Zoom side tonight. We're talking about Ego is the Enemy. Now, the sequel book to Ego is the Enemy is The Obstacle is the Way. Also by Ryan Holiday. I really, really love that book. But The Obstacle is the Way remind me of all the things that I ran away from should have been the things that I was running towards. Right. So I thought about it. The book starts off with describing a man on a trek. He's going on a journey. And in the middle of this road where he has to go, there's a huge rock, a stone. It could be a mountain. So imagine in your life, you're headed to your purpose. You're on a road. You like, oh, I'm almost there. And then 3/4 of the way, there's a huge mountain. What do you do? Can you go around it? It might just take you forever to have to go over it. Can you go under it? Can you drill through it? Or maybe just a few steps ahead, you realize that that is the destination. But if you're so filled with fear and ego and, oh, somebody did this to me, you miss the point. So I believe in finding something divine enough of continuing forward anyway, even though you don't know how. Purpose will fuel this. And I hate to say purpose will make you crazy. It actually makes you sane because ego is the enemy. That thought that you really think you know what you're doing is the insanity. Because the reality is everything you've accomplished up to this point, in most cases, you did not do alone. You did it with the assistance of family, friends, and probably God, that good orderly direction that none of us really understand. But you had the fortune. Maybe someone left you some money. Maybe someone invested in you. We've all had moments of fortune and we've put them into coincidence. And when people tell their success story, rarely do they explain that they had a stroke of good luck, or that they had a really great mentor or a really great friend that just helped them out. But if we remember that, that will also fuel us as we move forward. So again, I am opening the floor. So the obstacle is the way. When I looked back sometimes, even in how I learned to do graphic design, I didn't have the best computer. I didn't have graphic design courses. I literally had to just figure it out. I watched a lot of YouTube videos, still watching YouTube videos. And if I can stay humble, I think I could continue to learn. That is what I want for you. I want us to keep having these conversations because as I progress, I would love nothing more than us progressing together. I know everybody's not going. at the same pace, and we're not all going to the same destination. But it's nice to know you are not in this by yourself. So just some thoughts on, if you want to share, what are your obstacles? Do you think in any way that your ego, your attitude, your belief that you can do it by yourself has hindered you in any way? I can't say that it has, but I will say it has for me. And I hope that you do not make the mistakes that I have made. Okay, here's my music. I love my music. There we go. There we go. There we go. I had to blow my own horn. Is that egotistical or what? Let's play it one more time. There we go. So again, I did put the link in the chat. I don't see anybody coming in. Also, for those of you that are creating content out there, I want you to watch. I'm going to take this video for tonight and I'm going to chop this thing up and work it into my bulk content creator. So I will be doing a class on that. And then also kicking off in the new year, I'll be doing the Artist Way 13-week course that will make sure that you are journaling every day and that you are taking yourself on an artist date once a week. That is a course that I've taken several times at different universities, and it's been very helpful for anybody with any kind of creativity. And even if you think of yourself as a person with no creativity, it gives you the encouragement to tap in to your creativity that might have been discouraged. You know, maybe a family member, a teacher, somebody told you, oh my God, you're horrible, leave it alone. And you believed them and you did. But it's to renew that creative part in you. It may not be visual art. It may be music. It may be you just like it. It may be you want to play the trumpet. And maybe you want to draw. Maybe you want to color with crayons. Whatever you want to do, you deserve the right to do that. And it helps you tap back into your God-given creativity and your right to be free. With that in mind, it opens up so many doors. So I'm using this really to help encourage business people. And so it's called the Artist Way Business. So listen out for that. And so I'm just going to keep on making stuff. I have to keep on talking to y'all about how can we move further, farther, faster. You're going to hear me say further, farther, faster all the time. That's a moniker that developed in my life some years ago. And I thought about, let's say, those days and nights where I was up all night working, something hit me and I thought, gonna kill yourself. So what's the point in having this time if you're gonna waste it? In a sense, you're overdoing it. There is a such thing as overdoing it. So further, farther, faster meant if in the spiritual world, time is not even a real thing, what are you rushing for? What are you overdoing it for? Slow down for a minute. And I guess life, I think, goodness, now I'm at, think of your purpose. If the purpose is being fulfilled, there's no need to overdo it. There's no need to overdo it. So let's see what we got going on. Nobody's in my chat. I think I need to refresh this. It is Friday night, September. I did last week wish all the September birthday people happy birthday to all my old school open mic friends. I did learn that I believe today, or was it yesterday, was Will the Real One's birthday. So Will the Real One has transitioned in the physical form, but for those who knew him, he was a great poet. If you don't know him, you can go back and look at some old videos of Def Poetry Jam, Russell Simmons' Def Poetry Jam. Will was a phenomenal artist. I got to see him grow and develop as an artist, and just he inspired so many people, men and women. He has a great poem, On My Way Back Now. Go see Will the Real One. You'll know him when you see him. He looked like the real one. So honor Will the real one. And every other September birthday, I'm celebrating my mom's birthday, so that's very special for me. And we're gonna get back to ego is the enemy and the obstacle is the way. Imagine not avoiding the person that you don't want to work with. Imagine the person that you don't want to work with being the best person for you to work with. Imagine changing your mind and realizing that you can address your fears and that the thing that you fear is the thing you need to do the most. Imagine you need to make a move. Imagine you need to let a friend go. Imagine you need to let a family member go. But that is terrifying to you. But imagine walking right up to that fear and doing it anyway. Imagine the success on the other side of addressing that fear. That's what I want for you. That's what I want for myself. So if y'all see me falter, check me. Because I'm going to check you. I'm going to check you. So, I mean, like I said, we're spotting each other. Who keeps the soul warm? Who is it that reminds you that you have a purpose? All the world pushes you to go make $1, go get a job, get a house, go on vacation. But who reminds you of your purpose? What is the purpose? Is it family? Is it legacy? Is it community? Is it just $1? $1 is easy. And that's why we see so many people who do get the dollars and they're still miserable. I won't call no names, but we know lots of celebrities that have achieved great heights, still very miserable. So I'm not saying don't be ambitious. What I'm saying is make sure as you ascend that you got that purpose in check. So I've been saying recently, there's protection in the purpose. Ryan Holiday, in this book, Ego is the Enemy, as well as the Obstacle is the Way, he's presenting quite a few of what we call Stoic principles. And when I grew up, I thought Stoicism merely was removal of your emotion. That's how I learned it, that Stoics believe that emotions were liabilities. I have a different understanding of Stoicism at this time, which is not removal of emotion, because emotion is actually energy and power. But actually, Stoicism is control of your emotions. So you have to control your emotions. Again, this is another level of humility. Ego allows you to, again, be the 2-year-old that throws a tantrum because things didn't go your way, because you're so convinced that it must go this way, and you make a complete idiot of yourself and at the same time not get what you want. So one of the Stoic principles is, I wrote down the word here and I might pronounce it wrong, but it's just my friends would always tell me I was dark because I would always focus on this concept of death, right? If I were to die tomorrow, what would you do and what would you not do today? So if you knew that you were going to die in 24 hours, there would be only a certain few things that would really matter right now. And there would be a whole bunch of other things that really don't, right? You wouldn't have that argument with the hater. You wouldn't have that debate. It's not worth it. So move forward with this kind of thought in mind. I'm not saying to be dark, but positively. There's another really good book, and I hope we get to cover this when Rich comes back, but The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And the F is spelled out. Yeah. The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F reminds you that in a day, you only have so many F's to get it. So make sure you give them to the things that are important to you. which I go back to arguing that that is your purpose. So if I only have 5 F's to give today, I may give them to my family, my business or my career, my joy, my happiness. I don't have time to give it to someone that I know is instigating issues in my life. So let's get the purpose lined up. So again, you're free to go out there and get the free branding guide. Go to my website, superflyers.biz. It's called the Slay the Brand Game. Get your purpose down pat. If you're out there creating content, it's going to help you move further, farther, faster, because you won't have to keep considering, what am I doing? What is my purpose? Once that's established, it's like the guardrails on a bowling alley. When little kids get the rails up, they can bowl as fast as they want without having a gutter ball because those rails are up. But with those rails down, they keep running the risk of going in the gutter. So get your rails up, get your guards up, get your foundation in place, and that is your purpose. All right, I'm gonna start wrapping it down. And that purpose is going to be the thing that's going to keep you resilient, even through what seems to be failure, or it just might be failure. Sometimes you're just not going to get what you want. But where do you get the energy to get up again tomorrow and do the right thing? It comes through purpose. Right? Because if you're making money, but you're still failing somewhere else, you will feel really defeated. Purpose is the thing that's going to keep you going through that valley and coming out again on the other side, back up to the peak again. Okay, so I don't see anyone in the chat. Let me check again. I'll put my own. Where's my horn at? We got some horns now. Let's see. So I do believe Rich will be back with us. He is having other technology issues. Happy to be here with you. If you need anything that I can help you with, I'm already going into coaching other people directly with graphic design, social media. You can just hit me up in DM. We will have more further, farther, faster boot camps to come, I believe every other month. We got side hustle glow up. So if you are having a side hustle, but you realize you're just working way too hard, consider getting side hustle glow up. That's on sale now. Check it out on Amazon. Also, we got the Artist Way workshops coming up in the new year. So keep listening out for that. I'll probably do a promo on that around Thanksgiving or Christmas time. So get in early. Get your purpose together. Oh, here's a good little quote. These are quotes that AI helped me with. So on purpose, these are just some little things to help you remember. Those are just me something quick. Let the work be the flex. So like, don't let your ego confuse you and tell that lie that you are more than what you are. Let the work tell who you are, right? Or here's one, reps over reputation, right? So consistency, exercise, showing up every day. That's far more better than, oh, I've done blah, 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 blah for this many years. Reputation is BS. Okay, people got reputation, but it's all talk. People create their reputation these days through SEO. We can put whatever we want online, but the real work doesn't lie. Be too busy to be famous. Okay. I do remember when working at the record company, I would see some people that came into the studio every day and worked on other people's albums. They got paid every day. They were not famous, but they were making good money. While there's these other people who got the one hit wonders. That's ego. So let's not be the one hit wonders. Let's be the real successes that we are. Let's go further, farther, faster. And I will see you later. Get that purpose in check.